Burn it. Burn it. Burn it. Damn. Okay.
And then sometimes because he got a lot of experience, so he'll try to trap me. So when he try to trap me, soon as he'll try to trap me, I lock him up. You go back to doing the same thing over and over again. That's what you gotta do. So the key to the fight game is period. The key is to take less punches. Keep the motherfucker on the outside as much as possible. Because remember, you got a lot of fighters, all they know is just fighting inside. That's all they know is fighting inside. You're gonna be a versatile fighter when you can beat them in the inside. And also, in some fights, you're gonna have to fight the motherfucker inside. They're gonna just close the gap in the period and make you fight.
Floyd Mayweather was recently seen visiting and reportedly advising Manny Pacquiao at his Los Angeles training camp. Yes, you heard that right. The same Floyd Mayweather who handed Pacquiao a decisive loss in their long-anticipated 2015 showdown, now appearing in his former rival's corner as Pacquiao prepares for a comeback that few thought would ever happen, let alone at this scale. Back in 2015, their long-hyped bout, marketed globally as the fight of the century, drew massive attention and shattered pay-per-view records. But in the end, fans were left divided. The 12-round chess match ended in a unanimous decision for Mayweather, who controlled the pace with precision. Pacquiao later cited a shoulder injury for his lackluster performance, but the result stood. Mayweather remained unbeaten, and Pacquiao, though still respected, had his aura of invincibility dimmed. Fast forward to today. Manny Pacquiao is 46 years old. He's been retired from professional boxing since 2021, following a unanimous decision loss to Yordenis Ugas. He's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's run for president in the Philippines. And now, after nearly 4 years away from competition, he's stepping back into the spotlight to challenge current WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios in what could be his final and most audacious act. And what makes this comeback even more surreal? Floyd Mayweather isn't standing in his way. He may be standing right beside him. Insiders suggest that Mayweather's presence at the camp wasn't just for show. While no formal announcement has been made, several close to the situation claim he's offering guidance, advice, and even strategic input. Whether it's training support or something more calculated, the boxing world is buzzing with questions. Is Mayweather genuinely supporting his former foe? Or is he playing a deeper game? But this isn't just nostalgia. Something bigger is brewing. When reports broke that Floyd Mayweather had not only visited Manny Pacquiao's camp, but possibly played an active role in his training, the reaction was immediate: shock, speculation, and suspicion. This wasn't a media stunt. There were no flashy press releases or dramatic statements, just quiet footage and a swirl of confirmed sightings from insiders. The same man who once viewed Pacquiao as his primary threat to greatness is now watching him train for a title fight, possibly even mentoring him. According to people close to both camps, Mayweather's presence wasn't accidental. He wasn't just stopping by, he was seen sharing strategy, speaking with trainers, and observing sessions closely. While Mayweather himself hasn't confirmed the nature of his visit, those on the ground describe it as advisory. Naturally, this has triggered endless fan theories. Some believe this is the early stage of a strategic setup for a Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch, this time under different terms, possibly as a high-profile exhibition. Others think it's a calculated move by Mayweather to maintain relevance in a boxing landscape that's rapidly shifting toward crossover fights, influencer boxing, and changing promotional power dynamics. But one theory hits harder than the rest, that Mayweather is controlling the narrative. By inserting himself into Pacquiao's return, he ensures that any conversation about the Filipino legend inevitably includes his name. Legacy management at its finest. Whether this is the beginning of a comeback arc for both men or simply a symbolic gesture of mutual respect, one thing is certain: the line between rivalry and alliance has never been blurrier. To understand this twist, we need to go back to where it all started. For years, the world begged for Mayweather vs. Pacquiao, the two biggest names in boxing, the best defensive technician versus the relentless offensive machine. Talks began as early as 2009, but contractual disputes, drug testing disagreements, and promotional wars kept the fight in limbo. It wasn't until May 2, 2015, that fans finally got what they had waited for: the so-called Fight of the Century, held at the iconic MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. With over 4.6 million pay-per-view buys, it became the most lucrative bout in boxing history. But despite the hype, the fight itself was slow, tactical, and, to many fans, disappointing. Mayweather's signature defense frustrated Pacquiao, who struggled to land clean shots. After 12 calculated rounds, Mayweather walked away with a unanimous decision victory, unifying the WBC, WBA, and WBO welterweight titles. Pacquiao would later claim he had been dealing with a torn rotator cuff, but Mayweather never bought the excuse. In later interviews, he acknowledged Pacquiao's power, calling it solid, but added, "It wasn't anything I hadn't felt before." He claimed that both men respected each other's firepower in the ring. Why else would Pacquiao hesitate to engage? Still, the outcome didn't destroy Pacquiao's legacy. In fact, for many fans, it only reinforced their admiration for his fearlessness. Unlike Mayweather, who would retire in 2017 with an untouched 50-0 record, Pacquiao kept fighting, even as age caught up with him. But despite the result, both men's careers took very different turns. Floyd Mayweather walked away from professional boxing on his own terms. After defeating UFC superstar Conor McGregor in 2017, he retired with a perfect 50-0 record. No one ever truly touched him. Today, Mayweather is a fixture outside the ring, running Mayweather Promotions, headlining lucrative exhibition fights, and managing his image as the undefeated, untouchable face of modern boxing. But for Manny Pacquiao, retirement didn't come with the same finality. After his last professional fight, a 2021 loss to Yordenis Ugas, Pacquiao announced he was stepping away from boxing to focus on politics. He launched a full-scale presidential campaign in the Philippines, fueled by his reputation as a national hero and philanthropist. But the campaign ended in disappointment. He lost the election, and with it, any immediate political future. Still, Pacquiao never closed the door on boxing. Interviews during his time away hinted at lingering hunger. He trained, stayed in shape, and even participated in an exhibition in Japan that, although underwhelming, reminded fans that the fighting spirit had never left him. Now, that spirit is back on full display. On July 19, 2025, Pacquiao will face off against WBC welterweight champion Mario Barrios at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, the same venue where he lost to Mayweather a decade earlier. And here's where the stakes climb higher than ever. If Pacquiao wins, he will become the oldest welterweight world champion in boxing history, breaking the very record he set himself back in 2019 when he beat Keith Thurman at age 40. It's not just another fight, it's a legacy-defining moment. A victory wouldn't just be historic, it would be symbolic, proof that the warrior in him still belongs on the world stage, even at 46. And that's where this fight gets controversial. Not everyone sees this comeback as inspirational. Veteran promoter Frank Warren has openly criticized the WBC's decision to sanction the fight, calling it disgraceful and accusing the organization of undermining merit-based rankings. In Warren's eyes, giving a 4 years retired fighter a shot at a world title over younger, more active contenders sends the wrong message. Others share a more serious concern: Pacquiao's health. At 46, the human body simply doesn't respond the same way. His reflexes may be slower, his stamina could falter, and in his last exhibition bout in 2024, fans noted his timing was off, His combinations lacked power, and his footwork, once his deadliest weapon, seemed rusty. Critics have drawn comparisons to the ill-advised Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul bout, pointing out the danger of putting a legend past his prime into a live-fire title fight. But not everyone is counting him out. Renowned trainer Abel Sanchez, known for his work with Gennady Golovkin, offered a more balanced perspective. In a recent interview, he said, "You know it's difficult for us as coaches to tell them to hang them up, but Manny has a chance." Just like George Foreman did. Foreman, of course, famously became heavyweight champion again at age 45. Sanchez believes Pacquiao's conditioning, experience, and ring IQ might just allow for the same kind of miracle. But this isn't the heavyweight division. This is welterweight, where speed and reflex still dominate. And against a younger champion like Barrios, that could be the difference between victory and real risk. And believe it or not, Mayweather's camp agrees. While Floyd Mayweather himself remains selective in what he says publicly, those close to him are speaking more openly, and some are surprisingly optimistic about Pacquiao's chances. Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle and longtime boxing analyst, recently made headlines when he stated that not only could Pacquiao beat Mario Barrios, but he might even knock him out. And if that happens, Jeff warned that even Gervonta "Tank" Davis should be worried. If Pacquiao looks anything like his old self, he could be trouble for a lot of these guys, Jeff said on the Mayweather channel. He added that Tank's recent lackluster performances have opened the door for Pacquiao to appear as a real threat, even at his age. And what about Floyd himself? On a podcast appearance earlier this year, Manny Mayweather surprisingly praised Pacquiao, calling him the best fighter I ever faced. He acknowledged Pacquiao's movement, angles, and ring intelligence, saying, "I can see why he won so many fights, and I can see why he's going down as a Hall of Famer." But there's a flip side. Some boxing insiders believe Mayweather's involvement in Pacquiao's camp is less about mentorship and more about legacy management. By inserting himself into this comeback story, Floyd ensures that he stays part of the narrative. The man Pacquiao once couldn't beat, now appearing to support him, or subtly remind everyone of his place atop boxing's throne. It's possible Mayweather wants this fight to succeed, not for Pacquiao, but for himself. If Pacquiao wins, it validates Mayweather's own greatness. "I beat that guy at his peak." And if Pacquiao loses, it only further secures Floyd's status as the last man to truly outclass him. And this fight is also crucial for Mario Barrios. At just 29 years old, Mario Barrios is entering what should be the prime of his career, fresh off a commanding performance against former WBA champion Yordenis Ugas, a fight in which he dropped Ugas twice and won via unanimous decision. Barrios has every reason to chase unifications and top-tier contenders in the stacked welterweight division. So why, of all people, did he choose to face Manny Pacquiao, a 46-year-old Hall of Famer who hasn't fought professionally in nearly 4 years? The answer isn't just money, it's legacy. Barrios knows that defeating Pacquiao, regardless of his age, means something. This isn't just another title defense. It's a chance to beat a global icon, a man who's inspired millions, and whose name still carries more weight than many of today's active fighters combined. A win over Pacquiao could catapult Barrios into the mainstream spotlight in a way no other opponent could. And make no mistake, Barrios is treating this as a serious challenge. Reports out of his camp describe an intense, focused training regimen. No showboating, no shortcuts. His team is preparing as if they were facing the 2009 version of Pacquiao, the one who dismantled Ricky Hatton, stopped Miguel Cotto, and terrorized the welterweight division with speed and aggression that seemed impossible to read, let alone stop. Barrios has made it clear, he's not showing up for a payday. He's showing up to make a statement, but with that comes risk. If he wins, critics will dismiss it as beating a past-his-prime legend. But if he loses, the humiliation would be seismic. A reigning world champion getting outclassed by a fighter 17 years older, who's been out of the game for 4 years, could derail Barrios' entire trajectory. But if he loses, it could be the biggest embarrassment of his career. As soon as news broke that Pacquiao would receive a title shot, eyebrows across the boxing world were raised, especially when the WBC suddenly ranked him in the top 5, despite a 4-year absence from professional competition. To many, this move was nothing short of controversial. Critics, including respected promoters and boxing journalists, have called it a blatant case of boxing politics, questioning how an inactive fighter with no recent wins could leapfrog deserving contenders. They argue that this undermines the sport's integrity, turning title fights into popularity contests rather than earned opportunities. But there's another side to the argument. Pacquiao's supporters point to his unparalleled resume: 8-division world champion, 12 major world titles, victories across 4 decades, as justification for special consideration. They argue that if anyone has earned the right to a final shot at glory, it's him. And then there's the footage. Clips from Pacquiao's recent training sessions show flashes of vintage brilliance, blistering hand speed, crisp combinations, sharp angles, and that trademark explosiveness that once overwhelmed men much younger and bigger than him. While he may no longer be the hurricane of movement he once was, observers say there's enough in the tank to at least make this interesting. Still, the big question remains: is what we see in training enough for 12 rounds under pressure against a hungry, hard-hitting champion? And all the while, Mayweather watches from ringside. As Floyd Mayweather's presence around Pacquiao intensifies, so does speculation about what he's really doing there. On the surface, it appears supportive, offering insights, sharing training philosophies, and possibly mentoring a man he once called his fiercest opponent. But to those who know how Floyd operates, the move might be more calculated than it seems. Some insiders believe Mayweather is co-opting Pacquiao's comeback story, ensuring that his own name remains in headlines as this historic fight unfolds. It's a move that would fit his long-standing strategy: stay relevant, stay in control, own the narrative. Others whisper about a potential exhibition rematch, a massive payday for both men that could draw worldwide attention once again. Or perhaps this is a strategic hedge. If Pacquiao pulls off a stunning win, Mayweather can say he helped guide him there. And if Pacquiao falls short, well, it only reaffirms Floyd's status as the man who figured him out and stayed undefeated. Then there's a third theory: clout-jacking. In today's era of YouTube fights and crossover events, maintaining media relevance is everything. And Mayweather, ever the master of marketing, knows how to keep the spotlight aimed squarely at himself, even when someone else is stepping into the ring. But no matter the motive, the result could change boxing history. On July 19, 2025, Manny Pacquiao will step into the ring at the MGM Grand one more time. He will be 46 years old. He will be facing a current world champion 17 years his junior. And if he wins, he will break his own record to become the oldest welterweight champion in boxing history. It's a moment dripping with symbolism, the return of a legend, the question of whether time can be reversed, if only for one night. For Pacquiao, it's not just about winning. It's about proving that greatness never fades, that even after politics, retirement, and countless wars in the ring, he still has the heart, the skill, and the will to defy the odds. But make no mistake, the danger is real. A poor showing could stain a legacy built on courage and relentless excellence. A brutal loss could raise concerns far beyond the scorecards, and the whispers about whether he should have stayed retired will turn into shouts. All the while, Floyd Mayweather will be watching, perhaps as a mentor, perhaps as a strategist, perhaps just as the man who once beat Pacquiao and still controls the conversation. So the question becomes this: is this comeback Pacquiao's final triumph, or the last punch of a legend who didn't know when to stop? If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like this video to support the channel. Subscribe to Boxing is Here for the latest updates, fight breakdowns, and expert analysis. And turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, peace out.